Sound check, 1 2 1 3. Sound check, can you hear me? Sound check. To the waves on the coast, to the flames cast my bone. To the waves on the coast, to the flames cast my bone. What's good, tribe? What's up? How are you? I am the Hood Alchemist, here to bring you the art of transformation infused with so much flavor and so much culture. Yes, that is right, flavor and culture. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn your notifications on so you can receive more healing and flavorful content. Yes, join the tribe. You deserve it. So in today's video, we taking it to the stars. Yes, let's talk astrology. As an astrologer in the age of Aquarius, I figured it was only a matter of time before I unleashed my astrological perspective onto the world. That was supposed to be an evil laugh, but don't really have it. But really, in this video, we're going to talk about what exactly astrology is and, in some ways, what it is not. The average person either completely debunks astrology or lives off of horoscopes, yet never really feeling the need or the sway to dive deeper or truly understand what's beneath it all. And then there's you. You. A person curious enough to be on this video right now in this moment to want to know more about who you truly are and what all of this really means. That, or the beauty using from my thumbnail invited you to click. But let's say it's the first reason. I'm going to tell you what I've learned and gathered from my study and experience reading other people's charts and paying attention to the sky and reading my own chart and getting to know my own self better. So let's get into it. So like I was saying before, most people's perspective of astrology is very blurred, muted, diluted, and or just something that someone else or the internet fed to them, not really having a deep inner and or outer understanding of what exactly it means to practice astrology. Astrology is not a crutch and permission to be set in your ways. Most people know their sun sign and defend the qualities, not really knowing exactly how to apply astrology into practice. For instance, say you're a Capricorn. Capricorns are known for being stubborn and working hard. And most people who, if they believe in astrology, if you don't believe in astrology, but if you believe in astrology, or at least pay attention to your horoscopes as a way to give you some type of insight or clarity on who you are, what's going on in your life. If you're a Capricorn, it might say Capricorns are stubborn, they're not emotional. And so then when stuff like that arises in your life, it's like, well, I'm stubborn because I'm a Capricorn. And it's like, no, that's not how you're supposed to use astrology. That's not what it was intended for. Astrology is not who you are, it is who you were and who you are becoming. More so the potential of who you are becoming. Who you were and the potential of who you are becoming. I know I repeated that, but I want you to understand that. The choices you make and the experiences you cultivate and curate in your life, that's who you are. We all have free will. Astrology is just a roadmap, a tool, and a base for understanding. When using astrology correctly, you are in collaboration with and not being led by, if that makes sense. In collaboration with, not being led by, as in, this is who you are, this is what you do. It's a work in progress. It's a song coming together and everything plays its part, including you. So one reason why people feel like they really can't adapt or embrace astrology fully is because people say it's not science. They dismiss the fact that our ancestors have always held importance in our relationship to the planets and to the stars, not just to understand, but to really deeply connect, you know? That's not fake. Our ancestors knew what they were talking about. That's a whole nother video. In my humble observation, with astronomy being the study of the stars and the planets and what's going on out in the sky and the galaxy and space, astrology is the language of the stars and the planets and of you. Astrology is the language of how the planets and the stars interact with each other, as well as how they interact with us. Astrology is the language of science in a lot of ways. I know it's probably going to be people in the comments who got something to say about that. Comment away. But in my humble observation, like I said, because astrology, when you're dealing with astrologers, you're dealing with their interpretation. They're all studying the same facts and the same information, and they put their intuition and their gifts on that knowledge, you know? So astrology is a language. It's something to learn. It's something to embrace, whether you want to believe in it or not. You know, like people are learning coding right now because they want to know how to talk to computers and know how to make computers talk to each other and integrate that into our real lives and our everyday lives. So why not do the same with Earth, with God, with, you know, like why is it not okay for there to be a language and understanding of how we commune with the very thing that is inside of us? You are made of stars, molecules, oxygen, everything that exists in the sky, everything that exists in the heavens exists within you. Astrology is a tool to understand and to communicate with that essence of you, in my humble opinion. So let's run that back so far. Astrology is who you were and who you are becoming. Astrology is a tool and a language that gives you access to learning and harmonizing yourself with the world, your shadows with the light, your individuality with the community. As above, so below. As without, so within. Astrology is a roadmap to yourself and to the world, and to understanding the nature and the movement and the action and energy of yourself and the world. You know, like, I'm like, how could you not? Like, whatever. We won't get into it. In order to understand astrology and to apply it into practice in your life, the first thing you do is find your birth chart. What is your birth chart? So the birth chart is essentially a screenshot of the night that you were born, or day, the moment you were born. It tells you what exactly was going on in the planets, in the stars, what constellations were where. It's essentially the energetic makeup of the potential that you carry to bring forth in this lifetime. Not everybody has to become an astrologer and, you know, learn every single aspect, you know, of what a birth chart consists of and every characteristic of the planet and the signs. Like that may not be in your calling. But I do believe that everyone should at least look into, or at least have your birth chart read for you. I'm an astrologer. Hit me up if you want to read. So if you are a person who doesn't necessarily want to become, you know, consumed in the study of astrology, I'll just run down a few things that might interest you in looking up or having someone even explain to you more in depth with your own personal, you know, birth chart information. So the birth chart consists of the houses, the signs, the planets, there's the nodes, there's different meteors, and like there's angles and degrees, there's a lot of stuff. But the main things that you will want to focus on to get a good understanding of who you are is looking at, I'll start with explaining the houses. Look at your houses. So what are the houses in the birth chart? So when you look at the sky and you look at your birth chart, it's like your birth chart is split up like, I'll put a picture here of what it looks like. This is what a birth chart looks like. But as you can see in the picture, it's like cut like a pizza. So it's a circle and there's like pizza slices or pie slices, depending on what you like. Each of those slices represent a house. The houses in the birth chart represent areas of your life to focus on. Areas of your life that there is movement or action in. So the first house represents like the self, your internal self, your thoughts, like everything that makes up you. You know, the fifth house, it represents the creativity. It represents like children. It represents, you know, so on and so on. Like your third house will represent siblings. It will represent how you communicate. It will represent short-term trips. And it just tells you specific things and areas of your life. Those are the houses. Your houses are areas of your life in which to focus things on. Within the houses, you have planets or signs that can fall into the houses. So if you're thinking about it being a chart and you're thinking about you're taking a picture on the night you were born, if you look up into the sky, you can see the stars and the constellations. You can see, oh, there's the Big Dipper and, you know, there's Orion's belt. So it's like just imagining that that's what your birth chart looks like. Not even thinking about the diagram that I'm showing. But when you think about the houses, it's like what planet was on the east side, you know, the morning or night or whenever I was born. So the planets within your houses or even within your birth chart, the planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, those represent your guides and your drive, how your experiences will shape up and unfold, and ultimately the characteristics that you are to develop and become. So even when people say their sun sign, your sun sign is the sign that everyone is most familiar with. It is your essence. It is your life. It is like the God-given gifts and talents that you were brought here with, you know? That's one of the key ones to think about. If you have a Cancer sun, that means that you were brought here to deepen your emotions and to understand how to nurture and care for others and to care for yourself. That is your gift. That is what the sun's energy is. But the sun's energy also represents the ego. The ego, you know, that can be good or bad depending on where you're sitting at it with. But ego isn't necessarily bad. It's something that drives you and pushes you forward. So a Cancer sun person's ego will put them in spaces where they want to illuminate nurturing and illuminate feelings and illuminate love and taking care of people and being home and going inward, because Cancer resonates with the moon. So your sun sign, it plays a role in like the potential of the gifts that you have and that you embody within you. You know, then you have, I can give another example of a planet just so you can understand the planets. Then you have your moon. The sun and the moon in your birth chart are like yin and yang. You know, the sun is the gifts in your heart, who you are. The moon is your emotional nature and needs. It's your inner self. You know, it's the feelings. It's the parts of you that like live in the shadows. You know, you can't have your sun sign without having your moon sign. That's why people get stuck in astrology, because when you are just fixated on only knowing your sun sign and not understanding deeper, you don't get that like you are a makeup of all the signs, all the planets, all the energies and elements, and you have to understand how to work them together. That is what the language of astrology is hoping to teach you, how to be an alchemist, how to bring transformation and balance to all of these energies. You know what I'm saying? So you have your houses, you have the planets, which can fall within a house. So if you have your sun in Cancer that falls in the 7th house, that means that in the area, even though your sun is in Cancer and you're a nurturing and loving person that loves to go inward, the area of your life that it will most affect and be relevant in, if it's in the 7th house, which is ruled by Libra and represents relationships, then the area of your life that sun energy will be illuminated in will be your 7th house. So you know what I'm saying? It's layers, which is why I say you have to research, or at least have someone share it with you. You know, like, humble yourself and book a reading. Like, let somebody help you, you know, like, whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. So you have the houses, the planets, and then you have the signs. The sign is what we all know, you know, like Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, Scorpio, you know, like those are examples of the zodiac signs. The zodiac signs in your birth chart represent characteristics you will develop and the energy and potential you carry. It's a little different from the planets because the planets represent characteristics that over time will come, that are being like seasoned and guided and like nurtured in you. But your sign, those characteristics are ones that you just have naturally, and like you have that potential already there. It's just a matter of whether or not you tap into it or not, or whether or not you're aware of it or know how to balance it. And obviously everything grows over time. With astrology, it's all about the transits. It's all about how things move and shift and grow. So it's very similar to the planets, but it's still just your natural characteristics, natural energy. You know what I'm saying? It takes all of it in order for you to really know yourself. You have the houses, you have the signs, you have the planets, you have the key players of the planets, the sun, the moon, you know, your Mars and whatnot. I'm just listing stuff. They're all key players to me, in my opinion. And then you have your rising sign, you know, your ascendant. You hear a lot of people, most people, if they a little deeper and they don't just know their sun sign, they know their sun, moon, and rising, and they walk around like, you know, I'm a this, that, and the other. And that's what's up. Shout out to you. Keep going. Go deeper. You know, your rising sign is your identity. It's your relationships. It's how you view yourself and how others view you. It's how you view yourself and how others view you. When I say that your rising sign is connected to your relationships, because your rising sign sets the tone for a whole half of your chart. It sets the tone for how things will unfold and like what energy all of that stuff will have. So if you're a person that's, let's say, a Libra, and you have, what's a good combination for that? An Aries rising. You know, those are polar opposites. They literally are opposite signs. That's a whole nother video. We'll get into all of that. You know, if you're enjoying this video, if you like what I'm saying, drop a comment below. Tell me your sign. What's your sign? Who are you? You know, like, and let me know if you would like more content like this in the future. But if you have a person who is a Libra sun with a moon, with a rising sign in Aries, then even though you are a Libra, and even though you're all about balance and justice and fairness and like kind of being neutral with everything, when people first meet you, because you have this Aries ascendant, people are going to feel the fire from you first. They're going to feel the independent nature. They're going to feel the go-getter nature. You know, they'll have to really get to know you to understand that, even though it may seem like you are impulsive or you just do what you want or think for yourself, underneath it all, you have the Libra energy that naturally just makes you consider and think of others in the way that you move and navigate. You know, I could go on and on with this stuff, but astrology is a language. Astrology is a gift and a tool. Astrology is science. If it's not, and for those who want to say that it's not, just at least agree that it's a part of science. It's in relationship to science. It's in connection to science. It's a language of science. You know, chemistry is science, but if you didn't have the numbers to back it up or to use to communicate it, then what would you be doing? You know, astrology is the language of astronomy. It is the language of the stars and the planets, and it's very simple to understand, or to at least receive the information, but you have to understand that what you see in astrology is never just what it is. There are always layers. You know, for every planet, the planet has a house that is connected to, or it has another sign that's connected to it. So if you have a Mars, the dogs, I live in a jungle. My bad, y'all. It's a jungle out here, you know. If you have Mars, That's a fiery planet in the sign of Gemini. That's an airy planet. You know, those are layers. Those are things that you have to understand how they work. Like, yes, I am fiery, and my fire also comes with hesitation, or sometimes my fire, you know, likes to wander, like, you know. So it's about understanding the layers. It's about really digging and digging deeper until you know yourself, and then remembering that every time you think you know for real, it's time to go deeper again, you know. So again, in my opinion, astrology is not who you are, it is who you were and who you are becoming. Astrology is a journey, not a destination. It is not finite, you know. I might not have said that right, but who cares? Astrology is, it's the process. It's the process. It's the expansion. It's evolution. In a lot of ways, astrology can be therapy. It can go hand in hand with psychology. Because with it being the language of the planets of the stars, and with it being the language of you, it is giving you another voice into what exactly is happening in your heart, mind, body, and spirit. In order to master this human experience, you have to master and truly know and understand who you are. And in my humble opinion, astrology is a good tool in helping through that process. That's a little about my truth of what astrology is and what it is not, and just giving some basic understanding of even how to look at the birth chart and how to understand how to apply it into your everyday life. If this video was interesting to you, please drop a comment. Let me know what your sign is. If you would like to book a reading, hit me up. Emails in the description box. And also, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to know. Don't be afraid to not know. You know, don't be afraid to dive in. It's all a process. We're all on this journey together. And the quicker you be real with yourself, that you are not alone, and that you nor most people don't know what they're doing, the easier it'll get. In my humble opinion. So yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, you know, and hit that notification bell so you can get more juicy, flavorful content from your girl. It's the Hood Alchemist, you know, bringing you that good transformation with that good energy. And we out.